Mr. Beast has almost died, and it's not really a laughing matter. It was quite serious despite avoiding the accident. Let me explain what happened. Mr. Beast, Tyler, and their friend were driving down the highway. Their unnamed friend was driving. Mr. Beast sat beside him and Tyler was in the back seat. It was a long journey after filming for a video. They did finish late, but everyone was well rested. But there was a problem, completely unknown at the time, but their friend suffers from an extremely rare condition where the heart will suddenly stop beating. So you can see where this is going, right? Yeah, they were driving down the highway and the driver said, "I'm gonna pull over at the next gas station. I don't feel too good." So Mr. Beast looked at him just after he spoke and his friend was already down. His heart stopped beating, so he went limp. Mr. Beast described his friend as being essentially dead. Tyler decides the best thing to do is to punch him in the back of the head, which might sound really bad, but when your driver goes limp, the panic that they must have felt, all he wanted to do was to wake up the driver. But the driver will thank Tyler for something he did a bit later on. Mr. Beast did not punch his essentially dead friend. Instead, he grabbed the steering wheel and tried his best to maneuver the car to safety, away from other vehicles on the highway. Problem was that to press the brake, he had to use his hand, so braking meant that he couldn't see the road. Luckily, he managed to get off to the side of the highway, while braking, meaning he had to judge it mostly by sound. So finally they're stationary at the side of the road. Mr. Beast and Tyler finally think they can relax after their ordeal, but their friend's heart starts beating again. But because he was driving just before, when he woke up his mind instinctively carried on driving. So it didn't end there, but now Mr. Beast was concerned about swerving into the highway again. So he grabbed the steering wheel, turned it in the opposite way off of the highway completely, whilst at the same time diving for the brake. They ended up slamming into a concrete wall. Mr. Beast's main injury was his head, which was actually really lucky because he was fine in the end. As far as I could find, Tyler didn't sustain any injuries. But now the car stopped at this point. It's safe to say that Mr. Beast's actions saved their lives, but their friend is still in trouble with his heart still not beating. But remember, no one actually knew this. Tyler still managed to save his life by simply dragging him out of the car and raising his legs. It's something people do normally to treat shock and help with the blood flow and circulation. And it was this extra aided blood flow that started his heart again. Tyler knew to do this because his dad is a paramedic. So the driver wakes up and the first thing he says is, "Can I have some water?" And Mr. Beast replied with, "Fuck your water, you almost killed us." But he had no idea what had just happened. They later found out about their friend's heart condition, which now he has had some surgery for, and there shouldn't be any more issues for him. I mean, this whole ordeal could have ended really badly. However, it did cause some flashbacks for Mr. Beast. Strangely, when Mr. Beast was 10 years old, he had a similar situation. It wasn't as bad, but it was a similar situation that he just didn't know what to do. He was in Little League and his coach drove him home. He had to stop along the way, but he forgot to put on the handbrake. Mr. Beast remembers not knowing how to stop the car rolling. Worried if he presses the wrong pedal, he would accelerate through the house rather than hitting the house, only causing potential damage to it, but definitely less damage. He decided to sit there and do nothing, which was also the right thing to do. Could you imagine a 10-year-old driving through the house just by accident? If you guys have any more interesting stories about your favourite YouTubers, then feel free to let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.